Good morning, Erin McCarty here. Robert has the day off. Got my buddy Dan KEEL here.
Good morning.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
Matt Parker is at the controls. Starting our long weekend early. Robert gets an early start. We'll be cranking it off just after 9. And it's going to be a busy weekend for travel. We'll take a close look. Could be some record numbers. Another innovative way to fight crime in Shreveport. Will it work? We'll talk more about that, too. And it looks like a little movement forward on the budget in Baton Rouge. We'll take a close look at that, too. Plus, Wade Duty with the Louisiana Casino Association. If you missed our conversation with him yesterday, talking about the gambling boats and will they come onto land, that's coming up in, 7 minutes right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Lots of folks will be traveling this Memorial Day weekend, and state troopers will be out in force. Dustin Dwight says this will hopefully reduce the number of crashes and help response time.
Crashes, reports of impaired driving, reckless operation, and those types of things. So this initiative is designed to target that.
41 million Americans are expected to travel this weekend, up 5% from a year ago. Shreveport police have a new strategy to fight crime in Allendale: bike patrols. The grassroots bike operation, an effort by SPD to get more officers in the streets in a way they can connect with the community. Sergeant Gregory Washington says the operation is more of a personal way of policing the area. So far in the month of May, 2 people have been shot and killed in the neighborhood. 2 men arrested for hacking email accounts to steal money. Patrick Babila and Thaddeus Pugh arrested for allegedly stealing more than $140,000. According to police, the pair hacked into several email accounts to illegally divert large sums of money from investors into their personal bank accounts. A local fighter wins big with the UFC. Matt Parker with that.
Andrea Lee has been a staple of the local MMA community, but is now starting to hit her stride on an international stage. Last weekend, Lee not only won her UFC debut, but also was awarded Fight of the Night. Lee's big night in Chile put an $80,000 bonus in her bank account and showed why she's one of the top-ranked female fighters in the world. There's no word yet on Lee's next UFC fight, but with a new $1.5 billion TV deal with ESPN, we'll probably be seeing her at least one more time before the end of the year. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A Minden man arrested for multiple sex crimes. Robin Allen arrested for allegedly abusing 2 underage girls 30 years ago. The Bossier Sheriff's Office began investigating Allen after one of the female victims told police she was raped by Allen when she was just 7 years old. House GOP caucus chairman Lance Harris's tax bill passed the House Ways and Means Committee and is headed to the floor. The proposal would retain 1/3 of the expiring penny sales tax, as well as a few other sales tax breaks, and cut spending by $126 million. Harris says this is the compromise legislation that would get the votes needed to go into law.
This is going to be difficult to get 70 votes on the floor for anything. I think y'all realize that. But the alternative is $495 million in cuts.
Harris's legislation would raise $366 million in revenue. Need a flashlight, batteries, or portable generator to get stocked for hurricane season? Well, Louisiana residents will get a partial sales tax break tomorrow and Sunday when you're buying hurricane readiness supplies. The state sales tax will now be just 3% instead of 5%. President Trump wants to build a border wall, but nobody wants to pay for it. Well, Senator Bill Cassidy says he has an idea. He says the U.S. seizes $7 billion from drug cartels every year, and we could use that money to build the wall.
If we could bond this out, as we do in Louisiana, you would have an income stream, and you don't have to take all $7 billion, do $3 billion, but bond it out so that you can begin working on securing our southern border so that we can keep drugs from coming into our country.
Cassidy says Louisiana uses a similar plan to fund roadway projects with unclaimed cash every year. The commander of U.S. Forces Korea says President Trump's cancellation of his planned summit with the North Korean leader does not mean the doors are closed to a future meeting. An Amazon Echo device in Oregon recorded a private family conversation and then sent that recording to an acquaintance. Amazon says it's trying to tweak Alexa's innards so something like that doesn't happen again. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Our first check of traffic. Here's the Rubinator.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92, partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Oh, I have to talk, don't I? 1017 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin in the morning. Dan Keel is in studio with me this week, today.
Today.
Robert's taking the day off. Matt's here as well. Thank you, Matt, for cracking the whip. I appreciate it.
You act like I have a choice. Somebody's got to keep this train on the tracks.
And you know, when it's me and Dan and Matt, you never know what will happen. So this would be a good day to watch on Facebook. Because you never know.
You never know.
There could be, who knows who will walk in the door, who knows what we will say. I'm just giving you the heads up. If you've never watched us streaming live, we do stream the show live.
I bring out the loose cannon in you.
You really do. In fact, he told me, what did you tell me a minute ago? Be sure the delay is on because I don't trust
you. When Robert's not here to control you and to talk over you, you sometimes say things that are inappropriate and need to be dumped.
And she's got the red button blocked, so I can't even tell when she's about to.
I need to move that for you.
Yeah, move that, that helps me. Thank you.
You need to see to make sure if I'm on or off or whatever. Yeah. We're going to start out because yesterday we had a really interesting interview with Wade Duty, who's the executive director of the Louisiana Casino Association.
He's the head of gaming or gambling folks.
Yeah, he pretty much is. And he, I wanted to find out from him whether, how many boats are looking at building. The new rules are in place. You can now build your casino within 1,200 feet of where your current boat is docked. And my first question to him was, can the boats keep their existing boat and then build a new casino structure too?
No, it's an either-or proposition. First of all, it's voluntary. The boats would be choosing whether they would exercise this option. They are limited to moving no more than 1,200 feet, and that number was arrived at by looking at which boat would have to move the greatest distance to get on the dry side of a levee. So they're not relocating to the middle of a town. They're not picking up and moving 5 miles. It's just what can you move and barely get on the dry side of the levee. So that's where the 1,200 feet came from.
Do they have to keep a connection to their existing riverboat at all?
No, they do not. They would be able to construct a landside facility and transition their gaming space to that.
We were looking, and the new rule is, 2,365 gaming positions. Under the current 30,000 square foot rule, what is the average number of gaming positions, and what kind of enlargement, if you will this give local casinos?
Well, despite all of the misunderstanding and sometimes deliberate misinformation, this actually is a limiting feature. So inside of 30,000 square feet, you can actually put in about 2,500 gaming positions. So what the task force did, which met for 18 months prior to this legislation being introduced, was consider what facility is currently operating the largest number of positions, and then they allowed an adjustment factor for table games because not everybody operates the same table games or in the same manner, and they arrived at 2,365. But again, so doing the math, which is something that has eluded a lot of people, or they've chosen to let it elude them, presently, you could put about 37,500 gaming positions among the 15 riverboats. This legislation will actually cap that number. Instead of 37,500, it will be 35,475. So it's actually a reduction of about 6%.
You mentioned a second ago, you mentioned purposeful misinformation. What is that, and who is doing that?
Good question, because on the Senate vote, on the Senate floor vote we saw a couple of weeks ago, someone distributed a floor note alleging that this would be a 67% expansion of gaming positions. So I think what they did was they took the number of positions currently in use, which again is not the maximum number. There is no maximum cap under existing statute until this bill became law yesterday. So they, I think they took what was in use presently and said, well, this could go to an enlargement, but again, the 67% doesn't make sense no matter how you do the math. So that's where we arrived at, there's been deliberate misinformation about this.
We're talking to Wade Duty, Executive Director of the Louisiana Casino Association. Wade, let's hone in on our local boats here. Let's start Shreveport. Okay. There's a lot of people who think El Dorado and Samstown are kind of landlocked and don't have a place to go. what could they move across the street to their parking garages and put their casinos there if they
pardon
wished?
me, even on the other side, because if you go 1,200 feet from the current position, if you're familiar with Shreveport, you're up to Travis Street, which is a pretty sort of deserted area. That could revitalize a lot of downtown.
Well, and that was one of the driving factors that the task force considered is, now, the Gaming Control Board still has to approve any project. So this is not just a votes do whatever they want proposition. They're going to have to demonstrate that it's an economically viable and benefit to both the local market and the state overall. So that's something the board would take into consideration is what's it's going to do to revitalize an existing area. Will a boat move? That's entirely up to the individual boats. They've got to make the economic case because this will not be an inexpensive proposition. So if you're in a market that has faced a lot of challenges and the reinvestment does not make sense, then you may not see a move. But you're right. With respect to Shreveport, as I understand, both boats are tenants of the city, so they've got limitations physically on where they could wind up.
I mean, can you conceive a scenario where there are two brand new great big casinos in downtown Shreveport? I certainly can, huh?
It's a possibility, but again, you have to make the economic case. A lot of people were very fearful and a lot of hand-wringing occurred over, there's going to be this explosion of gaming, but at the end of the day, you have 15 boats now. You're going to have 15 facilities later. They may look a little different, but if you know where the casinos are today, you're going to know where they are after they make the transition to land. So what a potential project may look like, it's too early to tell because each one of these casino companies will have to go back to their parent corporation and make the pitch to get the capital investment to make these construction projects happen. So it's going to be a multi-year process. It won't happen overnight. The Game Control Board has started working on the rule process, which is a 6-month process in itself, to fill in some of the nuts and bolts aspect of this. But yeah, you'll definitely see not committing to any specific market, but you'll definitely see tens of millions of dollars in new construction occurring with these transitions.
Is the regulatory process, you just said it's about 6 months, is that in your mind, is that a lengthy one? Is it a hasty? Is it a speedy approval process? Is there a way to make it quicker if current casinos want to build?
Not really, because again, you've got to have some time for regulators to construct a regulatory framework for this. And then the rule promulgation process is the same for any state agency. So whether you're talking about forestry or any other state, entity, they all operate under the same set of administrative rule creation. So the Gaming Control Board will move with, deliberate speed, but it's not going to make any hasty decisions, and they're certainly not going to get pushed into anything. They've been a very effective regulator, and they will weigh these projects. If a proposal comes to, move on land and it's going to be just a move on land, I don't look for the board to entertain that at all. They're going to want to see additional amenities, some shopping, some restaurants, some entertainment venues. It will not just be put the machines in a warehouse on land.
Let me ask you this. If you have a crystal ball, do you see a couple of the boats here in Shreveport, Bossier, going for this and doing this?
It's something that all the boats are going to look at. But as far as me speculating, that's an internal decision within their respective corporations. So, one of the things, again, you're going to have to look at is what you've already touched on. Do they have the physical capacity to make a transition on shore, or are they so landlocked that they can't really do anything effective? So that's going to weigh heavily in this too. But keep in mind also, it's not just the getting off the water. This conversion to gaming positions and doing away with the paddle wheel helps the operator stabilize. The Shreveport market's been hit heavy by Native American gaming in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. This is a measure, even if they don't transition onto land, that will help them stabilize that local market in the face of what they've experienced since, I guess, 2005.
And Wade, one last thing, Diamond Jacks. Any news on if that license is going to leave our area and go to another community?
There was legislation filed to authorize a relocation to Tangipahoa Parish. That legislation was defeated probably by the midpoint of the session, mm-hmm. and there's nothing else that is on the horizon for that. So, it takes a legislative authorization to create a new waterway, which is what that project was looking at doing. So, absent the legislation being filed, it certainly doesn't look like anything will be taking place in 2018.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. That was Wade Duty, the Louisiana Casino Association. Now, here's Ruben with traffic.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
.1017 FM, 710 Keel. Maddie's got a look at sports.
The LSU Tigers were able to keep their dreams of winning the SEC tournament alive last night, beating South Carolina in extra innings 6-4. And the hero of the game was an unlikely one. In pitcher Todd Peterson's first career at bat, he was able to knock in 2 runs off of a double in the 12th inning. Peterson also picked up the win in the game. LSU will take on the winner of this morning's Arkansas-Florida game later on this afternoon. The Houston Rockets are only 1 win away from the NBA Finals. The Rockets were able to power past the Golden State Warriors last night, 98-94. However, the Rockets may have a tough task in closing out Golden State. James Harden has been struggling to hit three-point shots, and Chris Paul injured his hamstring and may not be available for Game 6. The Texas Rangers continue to struggle as they were blown out last night by the Kansas City Royals 8-2. The Houston Astros were able to pick up a win over the Cleveland Indians by the same score. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. Dan Keel is filling in for Robert.
And I'm supposed to say a phone number, 318-392-1884, Shreveport Security Systems text line.
Yep, text us whatever you want, whatever you're thinking about this morning. We'll be happy to maybe read it on the air. You never know.
Not whatever you want. We get some undesirable text that we would rather not read, so unless you have something at least...
You'd like something kind of cogent, thought.
Yeah.
Well, just logical and thought out as opposed to...
Aaron's an idiot. I don't care if you text me that. That's okay,
Yeah,
too.
we don't read those on
I'm
the
good
air.
with that, yeah. Memorial Day weekend, it's here. A lot of people may be taking today off and starting a long weekend. And, yes, it's great for barbecues. I'll be at the pig races. We got Mudbug Madness going on. And swimming. Lots of kids will be swimming. But
there's
we
a
gotta
serious
pause.
side, yes.
Yeah. Got lots of stuff going on. And Dan, I know, you want to tell folks this day is to remember those who gave up their lives, and we forget about that.
Like 1 million soldiers have given their lives since the Civil War. And so what happens, these local people, these are kind of cool things to do that are tied into the real purpose of Memorial Day. The American Legion Post has the Navy Fleet Reserve Association throw a wreath into the lake, I believe, at 2 o'clock on Lakeshore Drive.
That's on Monday, yeah.
Memorial Day at the Northwest Louisiana Veterans Cemetery. That's in Keithville. They have a program going on about 11, I think, in the morning. There's an observance at 10 o'clock in the morning on the 30th, Wednesday, at the DAV chapter at Greenwood Cemetery, Stoner and Market Street.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hillcrest in Bossier has a Memorial Day observance at 9 a.m. That's the earliest one. I kind of did them backwards.
Okay. And that's Monday morning.
Right.
Just take a minute and, maybe it's not impacted your family, but the thousands of families.
Thank a live veteran.
Yeah.
Let's thank them while they're alive.
Absolutely. Tell them thanks for their service and, do what you can to help them. If, there's lots of them in need out there, a lot of them, and you'll see them around town. But remember why we have this long weekend, because, often we just, it's the start of summer, it's going to be a blast. Just take a minute.
Pools are opening.
Yeah, absolutely. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. It is time to check with Ruben and our traffic.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
KEEL News now.
House GOP leader Lance Harris's tax bill has passed the Ways and Means Committee and is on its way to the floor. The legislation would raise $366 million in revenue. Harris says the proposal does not fill the $648 million budget gap that's brought lawmakers into the second special session of the year. The Republican says it's time to start cutting government spending.
I want to reduce the size of government because of the fact that our economy has retracted 2 years in a row.
The proposal would retain 1/3 of the expiring penny sales tax, as well as a few other tax breaks. 2 men arrested for hacking email accounts to steal money. We get details from that from Matt Parker.
Patrick Babila and Thaddeus Pugh have been arrested for allegedly stealing over $140,000. According to police, the pair hacked into several email accounts to illegally divert large sums of money from investors into their personal bank accounts. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A Minden man arrested for multiple sex crimes. Robin Allen arrested for allegedly abusing 2 underage girls 30 years ago. The Bossier Sheriff's Office began investigating Allen after one of the female victims told police she was raped by Allen when she was just 7 years old. A new strategy to fight crime in Allendale: bicycle patrols. The grassroots bike operation is an effort by SPD to get more officers in the streets in a way that they can connect with the community. Every year, the U.S. seizes about $7 billion from Mexican drug cartels. Senator Bill Cassidy says he has a plan for that money.
Secure the border. Why not? If that's where the drugs are coming across, make it harder for the drugs to come across.
Cassidy telling KEEL News we could bond out a portion of that money to help fund construction of the president's border wall. Harvey Weinstein expected to turn himself in to police in New York early today following a 7-month investigation into sexual assault allegations. What a prank! An 18-year-old who put his suburban Kansas City high school for sale on Craigslist has been banned from graduation after the senior prank went awry. The Kansas City Star reports Kylan Scheel listed Truman High School in Independence for the bargain price of $12,275. Problems arose when someone reported the posting as a possible threat because of Scheel's choice of wording. He wrote that the reason for the sale was, quote, the loss of students coming up. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. I'll have to stop dancing. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert's off. Dan Keel is here.
I'm here. I'm not off.
I was at the Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association meeting last night.
You're a
and
brave lady.
We always talk about, every group's all groups talk about crime.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing came up that residents really need to heed the advice of police, and they're very adamant about it.
Well, the thing with car thefts, lock your car. It's easy to slow them down or maybe even stop them if you lock your car. And please, please, please don't leave your gun under the seat, by the side of the seat, on your dashboard, in your glove box, or wherever else you think it's safe and secure. Take it with you.
Get the gun in and out.
Yeah, the safest place to have your gun is on you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you leave a laptop or something like that in the car, you're just saying, come here, come get my stuff.
I've got a vintage radar unit in my car, and I keep getting teased about it because I can play with it. It's a ham band thing. But
yeah.
Anyway, it's like somebody steal that from me.
Right.
But that's like the disposable thing. Take that
and
leave the rest of the stuff alone.
And I had an incident at my home. It's been a year plus, I don't know how long ago, where I heard, I'm sitting outside and I hear folks going and checking the car doors.
Right.
And anytime they would find one unlocked, oh, bonus, and they would go dig through it. And I know they caught one of the guys. They probably caught the other.
You were a good witness.
I was.
Gave good
I was
information.
able to ID one of the guys, and it's just it's a crime of opportunity.
I love that you told that story and not the one where they took your car for a joyride because you left it unlocked with the keys in it.
Yeah.
Hush.
Don't tell that one.
Hush. So we're ignoring that story. Just it really is, and I lock mine now every time.
And I heard yesterday when Greg was talking yesterday afternoon about people were saying we're like a war zone, and there's crime and there's crime and there's crime. Well, there is some crime, and we can't deny that, but I see a lot of brazen, like burglary the other day near Shreve Island School.
Really?
Daytime, after school, when all the kids are going in their mommy's cars and getting ready, walking home, and there were some burglars, young juvenile burglars, captured.
Wow.
They had to lock down the school for a while.
The video you sent me, can I use that?
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to post that. Describe what that is, because that's interesting.
There is a home in Vivian on the 22nd of May that 7 young miscreants, criminals, black males, are breaking into a house, and they're caught on all kinds of surveillance cameras. It's making the web because people trying to identify. One of the guys has a like a scarf, a do-rag or something on his head, and his face is very visible, so they're trying to identify him. But
there's 7 of them just
they're milling
going around the house.
And like the first guy tries to make entry, then they're all going to pile in. This could really have ended up very tragically for them because it's a sheriff's deputy's house.
Oh, my.
I mean, if somebody shoots them, then it's not going to be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next. I know some of us are getting weary and like, oh, we got to talk about lawmakers again and the budget.
I would be on that list.
But the House Ways and Means Committee passed something that you really need to keep an eye on and hold on to your pocketbook. I'm going to tell you more about that when we get back. Right here, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Let's check streets today as we head into the long weekend. Here's Ruby.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. I've got Dan Keel in for Robert today.
Hey.
He's starting his weekend off. Matty P is here. Matt, we haven't annoyed you too bad today.
Not yet, but it's only 6:42.
Do you want me to be honest?
You've got 6 minutes.
Yeah, I got 6 whole minutes.
See, my day with Erin starts around 4:45 or so.
Yeah.
And doesn't end until way after the show's over. So by 10 o'clock, I'm ready to strangle her.
You got the pile of emails to start off with today.
Yeah.
Your laundry list of things to do.
I start that early, and it keeps going all morning. And he, you know what? He does of 1 to scale of 1 to 10. He's a solid 5.
He's a solid 10 on tolerating you.
Yeah, you got a point. Yeah. I'm a solid 1 on tolerating lawmakers right now. I really am.
Lawmakers or governors? I'm not sure who's on your
It's
hit
kind of
list.
both.
Yeah,
it's kind of both for me because we've had 6 special sessions in 2 years.
Yep. And they cost a lot of money.
We still have the problem. 2 years ago, I was told by lawmakers, we're going to pass these temporary taxes, and then in those 2 years, we're going to fix the problems, and everything will be good. Well, fast forward the clock 2 years later, and it's not fixed. We're facing it depends on who you believe. The governor says $648 million. Lawmakers say it's in the neighborhood of a $400 million deficit. I don't know who to believe anymore.
They remind me of the scene from Blazing Saddles where they have to keep their phony baloney jobs.
Yes, exactly. Where we are now, and the House Ways and Means Committee passed the GOP Chairman Lance Harris's bill. Here's what it does. It keeps 1/3 of that penny sales tax that was set to expire. Mind you, we have the highest sales tax in the nation.
Did they get agreement with the Black Caucus on that?
They're trying to work on that, but right now it's not looking good.
But the Black Caucus is against sales tax.
Right.
Because sales tax is regressive against their constituents.
You bet. Because everybody pays a sales tax. You know, whatever you buy, you pay it. It also would retain a few other sales tax breaks, would do away with some of those sales tax breaks.
Do away with more?
Do away with more of the sales tax breaks, I think.
Yeah.
It would cut government spending by $126 million. I like seeing that.
Is this real cuts, or are these
I hope they're not
some of those
phony
baloney cuts?
I hope they're not those. But the legislation would bring in $366 million in revenue. So
where are they passing this budget? Is this being in the committee? It has to go back out to the big,
it has
big
to
group
go
of
to
people.
the reason you can't during this even numbered year, you can't pass tax measures during an even numbered year in a regular session. So you have to do it during a special session.
Right.
And you have to get 70 votes to pass a tax measure. So they need 70 votes, and that's where they are. They don't know if they're going to be able to get the 70 votes.
You're not thinking that's going to happen, are you?
I'm kind of, and this, I don't even really want to say this on the radio out loud, but part of me wants them to go back to the budget they passed in the regular session that the governor vetoed,
right,
and give it right back to him and say, we
there
have to pass a budget.
In your face.
Here's the one we passed. Now put nursing home people on the streets.
Yeah, deal with it.
Now let's see if you cut LSU
Call
football.
Bluff. Bluff.
Let's see if he really is going to do that. Are you really going to put nursing home people on the streets?
But you know what he's going to do, though? He's going to do this.
Oh, absolutely.
And point right back at them.
Oh, he might put nursing home people on the streets, but it's their fault.
Right.
And then they need to be ready with, no, he could have done A, B, C, D, or E. He could have cut LSU football.
Right.
You know, go ahead, do it.
The problem is, you know, for the past 2 years since they passed this temporary budget, a lot of the lawmakers, whether you like them or not, have gone, well, we can cut our way out of this. Don't worry, we got this. And guess what? They don't got it. And then every time they start getting in this little situation, well, we'll just get through this year, and they keep on kicking the problem down the road. It's been that way for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever they come up with, whether it's, you know, keeping a quarter of the penny or this or that, they just need to come up with a long-term solution so we don't have this problem every single year.
The loudest budget cutter people don't want to cut their own stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah. And, you know, it resonated with me in that town hall meeting at LSU Health. A gentleman stood up and said, my wife works for the med school. And he said, we go through this every year. Right. Will my wife have a job? Will her pay be cut? Will we need to look elsewhere? And I thought about those people. Imagine every year you have to wonder.
But here's the other thing. Voters know that we're being gamed.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
It's like, which the sacred cow we're going to threaten to kill today?
And is there another one on the table that we haven't heard about yet?
Right.
I mean, are we gonna kick children out of early education? Are we going to shut down Head Start What's next?
Right.
What are we going to target next?
How about living within their means? Is that possible?
Yeah, and Robert and I talk about this a lot. How many state cars are there out there? How many conventions do our state people go to? Let's start there. And I know it's a drop in the bucket. You know, Jay Darden would tell you, that's a drop in the bucket.
Why don't we
We'll start with the bucket.
Why don't we cut the heads of state budgets, their money,
yes,
and their own personal money?
Maybe the $80,000 communications directors in each office.
Or the retirement for Jay Darden.
Oh.
That would be getting some attention.
You couldn't do that.
No.
Dan, you couldn't do that.
No.
That would be crazy. What are you thinking? Oh, it's just really frustrating, and and you get so tired. What do they have? They have till June 4th. They got to try to work something out.
And they're already talking about another special session after this if they can't figure it out. So it should be an interesting couple of weeks.
Oh, unbelievable. More on Memorial Day. We'll talk about that. We also got to talk about some local parks. Dog parks on my list, too, just FYI. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. .1017 FM. Oh, 710 KEEL. Let's check traffic. Here's Ruby.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
.1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Maddie takes a look at sports.
The LSU Tigers were able to keep their dreams of winning the SEC tournament alive last night, beating South Carolina in extra innings 6-4. And the hero of the game was an unlikely one. In pitcher Todd Peterson's first career at bat, he was able to knock in 2 runs off of a double in the 12th inning. Peterson also picked up the win in the game. LSU will take on the winner of this morning's Arkansas-Florida game later on this afternoon. The Houston Rockets are only one win away from the NBA Finals. The Rockets were able to power pass the Golden State Warriors last night, 98-94. However, the Rockets may have a tough task in closing out Golden State. James Harden has been struggling to hit three-point shots, and Chris Paul injured his hamstring and may not be available for Game 6. The Texas Rangers continue to struggle as they were blown out last night by the Kansas City Royals 8-2. The Houston Astros were able to pick up a win over the Cleveland Indians by the same score. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
This one makes me scratch my head. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. No, this story.
Okay.
Robert and Erin in the morning. Dan is with me. Dan KEEL with me today. Matt, this one troubles me. Maybe it troubles you. This is the 30-year-old guy in New York who's been living with his parents. He won't get a job. He's mooching off them, and they tried to get him out of the house, and they couldn't get him to leave.
Did they just unplug his Facebook account?
I think they may have done that. I don't know. Well, now they've been taking each other to court, and now he's lost, and I think he has to get out by Friday, by a week from today. He said he needed 6 months to get out. He needs 6 months to get out. No, you need to find a job.
You didn't have to put your boys on the curb.
No, my boys were ready to hit the curb.
So what is it about that whole chemistry there in that family that they'd even let him stay to 29?
It's a weird story. Like, he went to college, and I think pretty much his quote was, "It was too hard. I couldn't math." So when he dropped out of college, he moved back home and then never left.
And that happens to a lot of people. Like, you know, this generation, they come back and live with mom and dad for a little while,
and they get insurance till they're 26. And,
and they hang out.
They don't want to break out at 18 and start working in the
right.
world.
Now he has gotten a couple of job offers. I know an Italian restaurant's offered him a job. And Matt, some sort of scandalous sites offered him a job too, right?
Yeah, and an adult-oriented website did offer him a position, no pun intended. So, you know.
He just needs to take one of the jobs and move on down the road and get him something else. His parents even offered him $1,100 to move out. Here, we'll give you $1,100. It'll pay your last month's rent at your new place. You'll be okay. He still wouldn't leave. I'm just saying, he's not a tenant. He's got to go. He's got to go. You're not paying mom and dad any no rent. You're eating up all the food. You got to go. 1017 FM 710 KEEL. Here's Rush.
The whole world has been able to witness the destruction of Venezuela, and they did it to themselves. It used to be a stable, economically healthy democracy with oil behind the economy. And then Hugo Chavez came in and socialism, and in 20 years, the country is literally starving. Maduro is blaming Trump for this, not Hugo Chavez. You know why? Well, Trump put sanctions on him a month ago. That supposedly is an economic war. That doesn't explain 20 years of decline. Blaming Trump didn't solve the starvation problem either. So Maduro just announced a plan. In addition to telling his people to start growing food on their rooftops and their balconies, the government demands that citizens breed rabbits. That's right, rabbits. Venezuela's urban agriculture minister helped Maduro announce the rabbit plan. He said the country has a cultural problem because We've been taught that rabbits are cute pets. He said a rabbit is not a pet. It's a 5-pound piece of meat that's very high in protein with no cholesterol. So there you have it. The socialist Venezuelan government, self-destruction on parade, is now going to cure mass starvation caused by socialism by demanding their starving people breed and eat rabbits. Hey, Bugs, what's up, Doc?
Spring. The birds are chirping, the flowers are blooming, the lawnmower is not starting. Get Mechanic in a Bottle. Mechanic in a Bottle fixes poor or non-running engines by cleaning the fuel system. No more costly repairs. Just one bottle of Mechanic in a Bottle should do the job. Available at the Home Depot, Tractor Supply, and Walmart, or visit mechanicinaBottle.com. Trusted by engine and equipment manufacturers everywhere. Also look for Ethanol Shield Fuel Stabilizer, because treating your fuel all year prevents trouble in the spring.
Every business needs great people, and the better way to find them. Something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. No wonder 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. Goodbye post and pray. Hello ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Still keeping a close eye on that major accident on I-20 eastbound near Westport Coons Industrial Loop. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Some sun followed by clouds today. A stray thunderstorm this afternoon and evening. High 92. Partial clearing with a low of 70 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning, Erin McCarty here. Got my buddy Dan Keel in studio. Robert's on vacation.
Good morning.
He'll be back with us on Tuesday, taking a long weekend. Maddie Parker is manning the controls. It's going to be a busy couple hours. We're going to, of course, talk about Memorial Day. Crime fighting in Shreveport is a big topic. They're trying another tactic in one local neighborhood. Email hacking here locally, spreading across the country. We'll have that as well. And, of course, focus on lawmakers in Baton Rouge and the work on the state budget. That's coming up, too. And we're going to kind of have an update on the dog park. What is the latest? That's coming up this hour as well, right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Bad news for our state. Louisiana dead last on health rankings for seniors. Dr. Rhonda Randall with the United Health Foundation says senior obesity rates are up 26% in the last 5 years.
Nationally, 28% of people over the age of 65 report that they are obese. In Louisiana, that's 35.3% of seniors.
Louisiana seniors were particularly vulnerable to social isolation, which isn't just the distance from other people, but whether or not they have any routine social interaction. In the 6 years the report's been released, Louisiana has never ranked higher than 47th. House GOP caucus chairman Lance Harris's tax bill passes in the House Ways and Means Committee. The proposal would keep 1/3 of the expiring penny sales tax, as well as a few other sales tax breaks. Monroe Representative Marcus Hunter says Harris's plan has deep cuts that would damage the economy and lead to mass layoffs.
So when Dorothy next door comes and knocks and says, you know what, I appreciate you voting on raising my taxes, but now I can't pay them because I don't have a job. Because what happens when the department says we can't realize those cuts?
The Harris plan cuts government spending by $126 million. A local fighter wins big with the UFC. Andrea Lee has been a staple of the local MMA community, but is now starting to hit her stride on the international stage. Last weekend, she not only won her UFC debut, but also was awarded Fight of the Night. Lee's big night in Chile put an $80,000 bonus in her bank account. 2 men arrested for hacking email accounts. Patrick Babila and Thaddeus Pugh arrested for allegedly stealing more than $140,000. According to police, the pair hacked into several email accounts to illegally divert large sums of money from investors into their personal accounts. SPD has a new plan to slow down crime in Allendale. We get that story from Matt Parker.
Shreveport police have a new strategy to fight crime in the Allendale neighborhood: bike patrols. The grassroots bike operation is an effort by SPD to get more officers in the streets in a way they can connect with the community. Sergeant Gregory Washington says the operation is a more personal way of policing the area. So far in the month of May, 2 people have been shot and killed in the neighborhood. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Senator Bill Cassidy has a plan to beef up security at the border and to help cut down on drug trade from Mexican cartels. Cassidy telling KEEL News that every year the U.S. seizes about $7 billion from drug cartels south of the border. He says if we strengthen border security and build President Trump's wall, we could really hurt the drug trade.
This is not the supply of drugs. This is not the demand for drugs. This is the financing of the drug trade. If you take out the financing, the deal doesn't happen.
Cassidy says Louisiana uses a plan similar to his to pay for some road construction projects in the state. North Korea says it is still willing to sit down for talks with the U.S. at any time, at any format, just hours after President Trump abruptly canceled his planned summit with the North Korean leader. Add another name to the list of big-name Hollywood types accused of sexual misconduct. Oscar winner Morgan Freeman is apologizing to anyone who felt uncomfortable or disrespected by his behavior. His apology comes after CNN reported multiple women say the A-list actor is guilty of sexual harassment and inappropriate behavior on the job. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on that major accident on I-20 eastbound near Westbrook Coons Industrial Loop. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Some sun followed by clouds today. A stray thunderstorm this afternoon and evening. High 92. Partial clearing with a low of 70 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. I've got Dan Keel in studio with me today.
Hey.
The Jack Spring electric shock buster button is all fired up, Matt, because, Matt, you said we needed it today, right?
That's that clicking noise I hear.
Well,
sounds like a taser.
You do have a tendency to get a little wound up when Robert's not here to rein you in, so...
So we've got it ready to go. You can also text us if you want to send us a text message or, I prefer not to be cursed at, but if you want to curse at me, that's okay, too.
The Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884.
Mm-hmm. And you can text us anonymously. We don't know who these numbers are. I have no clue. And some of them we read on the air. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
It might happen. You never do know. Got a couple of messages today. There were some people talking about crime fighting and different things like that. And then I got another couple of messages about parks, because we're doing the Shreveport Common Park. We're doing that, and that's $1 million. Let me explain to you how that worked out. That was money from, I believe, HUD, federal money, that was left over from a project up by Millennial Studios. And the city had an option: send the $1 million back to federal government, or find another use for it in that area, near that Millennial Studios, the Shreveport Common area.
Right.
And they asked the grantor, can we use it for the Shreveport Common Park? Would that be okay? And they were given the green light.
And I believe Caddo Parish Commission had already authorized some money with that.
Mm-hmm.
That project has been going on for a long time. The Texas Avenue Community Association, where we have the Makers Fair down there by that, and Shreveport Public Assembly Recreation,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Shreveport Regional Arts Council have all been collaborating on that for years. And it's supposed to be a community-owned and operated park once it gets going. It's going to have a buy-in by the community.
Because I hear a lot of people screaming and hollering, "How are we using $1 million for that park? Why are we doing that? We don't have the dog park. We get AC Steer needs work. The Duck Pond Park needs work. Everything needs work. And why are we building a new one?" That was money that was earmarked for that area, that neighborhood.
Right.
And you had two choices. You either give the money back, which some people would say, fiscal conservatives would say, give it back. Let the government put it against the deficit, whatever. Or you keep the money and you use it in that neighborhood.
And SPAR, they catch heck for not maintaining the parks. They have people that run up and down the riverfront to take care of the parks. They have people going to the city parks all over town.
Mm-hmm.
But, the community could help with some of that. There's a nasty mess that I saw last night at the Purple Park, the AC Steer Park there on Erie Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's people just not giving a rat's butt, throwing stuff down, throwing some ugly stuff down. They're just throwing their stuff. I mean, if you see a dead duck at the duck pond, go by, pick it up, put it in a bag, and take it to a dumpster. How hard is that?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't do it, though.
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah, there was one that people kept talking about on Facebook for like days and days. What are we going to do about the duck? Look at the duck, look at the duck, look at the duck. Somebody call this department, somebody call that department. Well, just go do it.
Just go pick it up.
Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not something I could do, though. It would gross me out. I hate to say that.
Gross.
I do want to tell you that I have been going in and I guess I'm a dog park stalker now. I don't know.
You can't stalk a dog park.
You can't?
You've been observing the moisture conditions at the dog park that have been explaining why they haven't cleaned it up yet?
I've been driving through there, and yesterday or the day before, I drove through, and the sign is up still saying dog park closed.
Right.
And let me get down in the mud and get critical here. It looks like it just needs the grass mowed.
It looks to me like not only that, but there are a couple of tree branches that fell on the walkway.
Okay.
And there's some sand that could be scooped off with some shovels.
Okay.
But I don't see why.
Why has this taken so long?
I'm not seeing why this didn't become not necessarily a priority, but why is it taking so long? People would sign waivers to clean it up.
Yeah, people would.
Isn't that going to happen, by the way?
Yeah, they are. They're doing a cleanup at the dog park June 9th.
15 days.
Yeah, June 9th. Anybody is welcome to come out. What I'm told is that it's too muddy. Now, I haven't gotten out there and walked on it.
There are some low areas.
Soft and muddy.
There's some soft areas that are the same grade as the river level, but that's going to happen. That's part of it.
Yes.
The little pond is muddy.
Right. The June 9th is the volunteer. City workers will be out there. Volunteers will be out there. They're going to be cleaning up the dog park, getting it ready, and then it should be back open to the public soon after that. They're hoping to recruit some folks for that work day to come out and, help get it all spruced back up and get it back open. I just question why we're 3 months from the floods.
Yeah.
And I question why 3 months.
Well, and Cynthia Keith, who's the Dog Park Alliance lady, she raised a question, which I thought they were going to go to the dog park and work their way down the river like southbound, and they went down to Hamels and got it going.
Yeah. And the other thing that troubles me too, and this, I know it's probably going to be expensive, but those spray parks downtown, it's summertime now. It's time to fix those.
Those are popular with the kids.
It is time to fix those.
Yep.
I think they were off all last summer. I may be wrong, but they were doing construction, so they had them blocked off. But it's time to fix the spray parks, and it's time to get them up and running. The kids enjoy them. It's a great feature downtown. It's time to figure out what's wrong with them and fix them.
Do we have pools, public pools?
We do have some public pools, and this may be the weekend where some of them open. I know the park on Burt Coons is very popular. They got that big slide. You've got the park up in the MLK neighborhood that's got a pool. Kirby's has a pool. And those will be open to the public, and I think it's relatively cheap. It's 50 cents or $1 to swim. So it's a really good bargain. And, just be sure your kids know how to swim. Don't just drop them off and expect the lifeguards to be their babysitters all day for a child who doesn't know how to swim. That's not appropriate.
And I think a cool little thing they're doing this year is that the city or whatever, or a SPAR, has teamed up with Rock Solid Sports where they have swimming lessons and
you bet.
various different things. So that if you, if your kid can't swim but wants to learn, they have the opportunity there for you to, get your child educated.
Absolutely. And then you can check out Rock Solid. Just Google Rock Solid, and they'll show you all the opportunities for swim lessons. It's, some of them are free. You need to get on a waiting list, though, for those. And the others, it's minimal cost. So it's well worth it. Every child needs to learn how to swim. 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Memorial Day, and why we have the long weekend. Let's talk about that when we get back, right here.
Still keeping an eye on a major accident on I-20 eastbound near Westburt Coons Industrial Loop, and we have some traffic delays on East Stoner Avenue near Uri Drive. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline at 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
.1017 FM, 710 Keel. Matt takes a look at that massively long LSU baseball game.
The LSU Tigers were able to keep their dreams of winning the SEC tournament alive last night, beating South Carolina in extra innings 6-4. And the hero of the game was an unlikely one. In pitcher Todd Peterson's first career at bat, he was able to knock in 2 runs off of a double in the 12th inning. Peterson also picked up the win in the game. LSU will take on the winner of this morning's Arkansas-Florida game later on this afternoon. The Houston Rockets are only 1 win away from the NBA Finals. The Rockets were able to power past the Golden State Warriors last night, 98-94. However, the Rockets may have a tough task in closing out Golden State. James Harden has been struggling to hit three-point shots, and Chris Paul injured his hamstring and may not be available for Game 6. The Texas Rangers continue to struggle as they were blown out last night by the Kansas City Royals 8-2. The Houston Astros were able to pick up a win over the Cleveland Indians by the same score. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
.1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is on vacation. He'll be back with us on Tuesday. He's taking a long weekend. Dan KEEL is in studio in Robert's chair.
Hey.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
My pleasure.
We pause today because so often our lives are so fast and furious and running here and doing this and going to this and doing this with the kids and grandkids. And it's going to be a long weekend. It's going to be so much fun. We'll barbecue. We'll go swimming. We'll go in the boat. I just want to remind you to take a moment and remember, about Memorial Day. And it is a day to honor those and remember those who gave up their lives for our freedom, for our country. And there are thousands of them, thousands and thousands. And there are some events, Dan. I know you want to run down these because there are so many that are going on locally that are open to the public that it's well worth your time taking out a part of your day and participating.
I'm going to try to go to the Northwest Louisiana Veterans Cemetery in Keithville. They've got a program at 11, and I just want to go see that place. They've got a helmet on top of an M16, and that's the somber.
Right.
When the soldier's gun goes in the ground and the boots and all that sort of thing.
And that's on Monday, correct?
That's Monday at 11. 2 o'clock at the American Legion post on South Lakeshore Drive. They're going to lay the wreath casting. Hillcrest Memorial Cemetery in Bossier on Highway 80, actually at Houghton, Bossier Parish, has an event at 9 a.m. on Memorial Day. And then on March 30th, May 30th.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm misreading something. Okay, 10 a.m. on May 30th, Chapter 30 of the DAV, Disabled American Veterans, will have something at Greenwood Cemetery on Stoner at Market.
Okay, and that's coming up May 30th. That is next week. So just take a minute and think about, this day. I know we're going to all enjoy the extra day off, and we will be running on Monday a best of Robert and Erin. So some of our interviews you may have missed over the last couple of weeks, we'll be playing those again. And some of the crazy things we've done. You might get to hear
some
again.
of those little snips and pieces of things.
Yeah, you never know what will pop up. We're working on that. We'll finish that all up today, but it'll be some things that we thought were pretty important that we needed to replay. So that's kind of what we'll do on the holiday, because we do get a day off. And
y'all are silly.
Sometimes we are. I was trying to describe, and maybe we'll talk about this when we get back, because I have a guest with me now from California, and I was trying to describe to him our radio show. And because he asked me, we were in the grocery store, and he said, well, what kind of radio show do you guys do? Because he hadn't had a chance to listen yet.
Right.
And I was describing to him kind of what we did. And I thought, that's kind of odd to describe it. Matt?
I can do that in like one sentence.
What?
Political monkeys on meth.
Political monkeys on meth. I like that. Can we choose a different drug, though?
Well, you can say Mountain Dew if you want to be politically correct, but I think meth is
heavy
probably,
doses of caffeine.
Probably more accurate.
Political monkeys on Mountain Dew. I like that. I really do like that.
You could get sued by the PepsiCo for that.
Could
though.
you for the Mountain
meth,
Dew?
The meth people won't care.
Yeah.
They're too busy tweaking.
Did you hear yesterday? Speaking of my guest, did you hear yesterday when I told the story about what his first impression of Shreveport was?
No, I missed that.
Okay, that's coming up next.
Okay.
Because that was eye-opening. Eye-opening. He's a California kid, and he's here, and his very first impression shocked me. It floored me. We'll tell you about that coming up next on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Kings Highway is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today. High 92. Partial clearing tonight. Low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
House GOP leader Lance Harris's tax bill has passed the Ways and Means Committee and is on its way to the floor. The legislation would raise $366 million in revenue. Harris says the proposal does not fill the $648 million budget gap that's brought lawmakers into the second special session of the year. The Republican says it's time to start cutting government spending.
I want to reduce the size of government because of the fact that our economy has retracted 2 years in a row.
The proposal would retain 1/3 of the expiring penny sales tax, as well as a few other tax breaks. 2 men arrested for hacking email accounts to steal money. We get details from that from Matt Parker.
Patrick Babila and Thaddeus Pugh have been arrested for allegedly stealing over $140,000. According to police, the pair hacked into several email accounts to illegally divert large sums of money from investors into their personal bank accounts. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
A Minden man arrested for multiple sex crimes. Robin Allen arrested for allegedly abusing 2 underage girls 30 years ago. The Bossier Sheriff's Office began investigating Allen after one of the female victims told police she was raped by Allen when she was just 7 years old. A new strategy to fight crime in Allendale. Bicycle patrols. The grassroots bike operation is an effort by SPD to get more officers in the streets in a way that they can connect with the community. Every year, the U.S. seizes about $7 billion from Mexican drug cartels. Senator Bill Cassidy says he has a plan for that money.
Secure the border. Why not? If that's where the drugs are coming across, make it harder for the drugs to come across.
Cassidy telling KEEL News we could bond out a portion of that money to help fund construction of the president's border wall. Harvey Weinstein expected to turn himself in to police in New York early today following a 7-month investigation into sexual assault allegations. What a prank! An 18-year-old who put his suburban Kansas City high school for sale on Craigslist has been banned from graduation after the senior prank went awry. The Kansas City Star reports Kylan Scheel listed Truman High School in Independence for the bargain price of $12,275. Problems arose when someone reported the posting as a possible threat because of Scheel's choice of wording. He wrote that the reason for the sale was, quote, the loss of students coming up. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The KEEL studios are powered.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. We'll talk Cross Bayou in just a couple of minutes, and hadn't talked to Dan much about this, so we'll share your thoughts and opinions about that. Robert is on vacation today. He'll be back on Tuesday. Wanted to tell you I have a visitor in town with me for a little while from California. It's a young man just fresh out of the Marines, and I've been spending some time with him. He's a dear friend of my son's, and I kind of feel like he's a son to me too. Mm-hmm. And I was taking him kind of a tour of the city the other day.
Where did you start?
We started by the YMCA night in Preston, not too far from my area, and went up the Clyde Fant Parkway. We went through and into downtown. Drove around downtown a little bit.
Like Milam Street, one of the streets down by the boats?
Yeah, down there on Caddo, went past the convention center, showed him all that.
You take him past the Deja Vu?
I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did show him that. You know, every Marine.
Federal courthouse,
Federal
downtown
courthouse,
area.
yeah. If you do something too crazy at Deja Vu, you end up here.
Right.
Just kind of FYI. Then drove down Uri Drive, went out Uri Drive for a ways. Just kind of in my neck of the woods. Haven't been out here yet to West Shreveport or over to Bossier yet, but we will. And I asked him, I said, what is your, you've been here a couple days. What is your first opinion of Shreveport? What was your first opinion?
Were billboards involved?
No.
See, I would have thought that. That would have been my guess.
He said, there are cops everywhere. Think about that.
Wow.
Why are there cops everywhere? And I thought, seriously? You see cops everywhere? He goes, yeah, I see them everywhere I've been.
Have you made sure this kid isn't wanted?
Yeah. got a point. I hadn't thought about that. But I thought he's coming from California in the San Francisco area, and I guess maybe they don't see him as frequently. But I said, well, could it be that the sheriff's agreement to help with the city is already out there? They're already, and then I started looking, and I've seen a couple more on my travels.
Well, and I'm a little bit. It's like if you drive a Cutlass, you see other Cutlasses. And that dates me. I realize.
Sure.
But I see police cars and policemen or women wherever I am.
Right.
But then that's kind of my perspective.
Yeah.
But I never really thought about it. But there really doesn't seem to be like saturation patrol.
No, I don't see him everywhere I go. And that was the first thing he said. The other thing he said was, it's hot and humid. It's hot and humid. I said, sweetheart, it's
you need to take him to
May.
South Louisiana too.
You haven't got to August yet.
Mm-hmm.
You just wait. Because he did say he's not a huge California fan.
Right.
He's pretty right wing conservative guy, and he said, but gosh, that California weather.
The Bay Area is nice.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
He said you wake up, it's cool in the morning. You get nice.
No air conditioning. They don't have air conditioning out there. They leave their windows open.
I know. It's unbelievable. And, he's adjusting. We're going to get him. He's going to get enrolled in school. We'll hopefully find him a job. And
he did mention the lawyer billboards on Uri Drive.
He hasn't yet. I'll ask him about that.
That just amazes me because I count them.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, there's like 15 if you count both sides between downtown and East Kings Highway.
Wow, that is amazing. Next up this morning, and it's getting to me where it's like, oh boy, we're talking a lot about it. Cross Bayou. I want to hear your opinion. Okay. I want to because I heard another opinion from somebody yesterday, and want to talk about that next. Right now, though, it's time to check in with Ruben and take a look at traffic.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Kings Highway is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Is this from Austin Powers? You're not sure? You don't know?
I can't hear it. I don't know.
Oh. What?
He's running the show.
Can't you see it in the thing?
It says Smash Mouth, which could be any number of a dozen of songs.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. I've got Dan Keel in for Robert. He's taking a day off today.
I am. I'm going to work after I do this.
I know it makes for a long day for you.
Not really.
We haven't. You are a local attorney, and you come fill in. You kind of like hanging out up here.
Yep.
And you kind of have your thumb on the pulse of our community. Or your toe.
Or the throat. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So you and I haven't had a long discussion about this Cross Bayou plan.
Right.
And I wanted to do that. I want to hear your John Q. Citizen opinion. Can you put that hat on for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, I'm at a group with a group of folks last night, and they're like, that is such a pipe dream, $1 billion. Why are we even wasting our time talking about that? That's crazy. Do you hear a lot of that too?
Oh, yeah. But I also hear from my friends who think that it's an economic development for, people in the black community, and that we're going to, that people are complaining about gentrification in that area of town. And to those folks, I always say, look, if you go downtown, you go to Ledbetter Heights, you go to Allendale, parts of that area, that corridor, have been cleaned out of residents. And clean may not be the right word, but it's been emptied out. Other than, I call it the Sedgwick Memorial housing complex at the end of I-49.
You bet.
But a lot of the area, Fairfield Management has some property on Lawrence Street, and a lot of the area in downtown area has been cleaned up. And there's a donut hole in the downtown area, the urban core. And I want us to rejuvenate that. That's why we have the Makers Fair. That's why we have the Texas Avenue Community Association.
Sure.
And I think the master plan has some development along Cross Bayou. My first impression was when Mayor Tyler was running, and she came out with this, like she thought it was an earth-shattering announcement. And I want to develop the Cross Bayou project for the city. And I thought, well, that's not a new idea, but okay, fine. I'm skeptical of the current development proposal. I think there's some hucksterism. I think there's some promoting this with other people's money. And I don't like the idea of the government being located there and what sounds like a housing project. I don't think that's the last best use for that area. I also don't think the government should be cleaning up the mess created by whatever the Brownfields area was. And we dug that up years ago about the Brownfield funding. So I would like to see it develop, but I'd like to see it as a commercially viable deal. And every other development, whether it's along Clyde Fant, if someone wants to put in streets and wants to put in apartments, wants to put in houses, whatever they do, they bring the money. Then they dedicate those streets to public use. This is bass-ackwards. This is so bass-ackwards. And I just feel like there's some snake oil in the pockets of some of those people.
That's what I hear most. I hear the snake oil a lot.
I want to see it develop. I want to see opportunities. I want to see our city grow and thrive. But don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining.
And that was the comments made last night at this meeting I was at. It was a lot of negativity, but yet there were a couple of people who said, I'll be the first to go live down there. And I'm one of them.
To live down there on the riverfront.
I'm
but you don't want to live in
one of
Section 8 housing on the riverfront.
No, and I think when you hear people talk like that, let me be honest. They're not going to put Section 8 housing.
I know.
This is going to be blunt as I can be blunt. So I apologize. Matt, get your hands on the Jack Spring Electric button, shock buster button. They're not going to put Section 8 housing on waterfront property.
Right.
If you think they're going to do that, you are a moron. And you just need to not even discuss this with me.
Right.
They're going to use part of the $1 billion funding, and the Section 8 or the housing for folks who need help is going to be over closer to Allendale and to the west.
And
of
there's
downtown.
some wonderful things been done in Allendale, Ledbetter Heights with the Fuller houses and some. You drive in that area, and people are proud of that area. People love that area, and they've had houses that are rented. And there's a lot of really crappy shotgun houses still there, but people have been cleaning it up.
Right.
And that can happen. I would rather see the development closer to that area right now and let it spread over. If someone wants to develop that Cross Bayou project, they'll bring the money.
Oh, and that was the thing. But Paul Pratt made a good point when we asked him about that. We said, why not let the city go out and request for proposals and let's get developers to the table? He said, well, it hadn't happened all these years. Nothing's happened.
Right.
Have we pursued it, though?
But you asked Paul on the air, and I don't want to misquote Paul or you, but the question you asked on the air, I didn't hear the answer. You asked him where's the money coming from, and
we haven't heard
and
that.
he danced all over the place.
We have not heard that answer. But my other issue with this is, and Robert drills it in. I mean, over and over, he's drilled it in. 5,000 housing units. Where are these people coming from? If it's the people like me of the world who would like to live on the riverfront, or if it's somebody in South Bossier who lives in Sligo Road Estates who wants to live on the riverfront, where are they coming from? We don't have the jobs for them, so we're just shuffling people around from other neighborhoods in our region.
I don't know about that, but I know we have tried to draw the young artistic crowd downtown.
We would like to have the hipsters.
We were going to have the cool people come in who were going to work at the Millennium Studios. We're going to have a lot of things down there, and we have the loft apartments, we have the hardware store, we have a lot of cool housing downtown. But if it's viable, someone will decide there's a buck to make on it.
Yeah.
Weren't we supposed to get one of those government software firms, kind of like CSRA in Bossier downtown. Like they were talking about they were going to rent a building, and then I hadn't heard anything about it. That would be, a good place for them.
If people come in from out of town with jobs, if people migrate here on purpose,
right?
That'd
And
be wonderful.
my other issue, and I know Matt, I'm probably going to go long. I'm going to have to wait till we get back, right? My issue is the Cross Bayou. You promised me Cross Bayou more than 20 years ago. The park. And I'll talk about that when we get back. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. And we'll check traffic with Ruben coming up next.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Kings Highway is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
.101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Did you see the LSU game? Oh, my. Matt's got a rundown.
The LSU Tigers were able to keep their dreams of winning the SEC tournament alive last night, beating South Carolina in extra innings 6-4. And the hero of the game was an unlikely one. In pitcher Todd Peterson's first career at bat, he was able to knock in 2 runs off of a double in the 12th inning. Peterson also picked up the win in the game. LSU will take on the winner of this morning's Arkansas-Florida game later on this afternoon. The Houston Rockets are only 1 win away from the NBA Finals. The Rockets were able to power pass the Golden State Warriors last night, 98-94. However, the Rockets may have a tough task in closing out Golden State. James Harden has been struggling to hit three-point shots, and Chris Paul injured his hamstring and may not be available for Game 6. The Texas Rangers continue to struggle as they were blown out last night by the Kansas City Royals 8-2. The Houston Astros were able to pick up a win over the Cleveland Indians by the same score. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
.1017 FM, 710 KEEL, Robert and Erin in the morning, and my buddy Dan Keel is filling in for Robert.
I'm Googling. Does he Google when he's here?
Robert is a good goog.
He's a good
goog. Yeah, he's good at the goog. I'm not real good at the goog. What I wanted to go back on when all these promises, City Hall, I want to remind folks what we voted on in, let's go back to 1996. Here's what we voted on by a margin of 98 votes. 10,400 some voted yes. 10,300 some voted no. Here's the verbiage of what we voted on in 1996 regarding Cross Bayou. 20-year general obligation bonds for, listen to this closely, for acquiring and or improving lands for a public park and to the extent feasible, specifically for the Riverfront Park Extension Project set forth in the Citizens Bond Issue Committee report. And this is under Shreveport Proposition number 8, Riverfront Park Extension. This was sold to us in meetings that this was going to be a public park for Cross Bayou. The city has been negotiating for pieces of land. They bought up some land, but we still don't have the park that I was promised in 1996.
Were you promised a state office building, a 5,000 housing unit project, or a sports complex anywhere in there?
No. Can you imagine if they promised me a park 20-some years ago and that's not there, and now they're promising me this big office building and all the housing? What would happen 20 years? Will we ever have any of this 20 years from now?
And how much was the bond issue for?
It was a $20 million bond issue. $5 million bond issue for 20 years.
Right.
The bond issue's up already. It's up. Where's my park?
You got 3 of them downtown.
Not where I was pitched. And this was the same election we voted down a zoo. We said no to a zoo. We said yes to a park at Cross Bayou. I want to know where my park is, who at City Hall even cares anymore.
Nobody.
And why? So why do I believe anything they want to tell me?
And before your head explodes.
I know. I need my medicine.
We have an upcoming council election. We have an upcoming mayoral election.
Yeah.
And my little pet peeve is, would you people who are going to run, please educate yourself on the charter. If you're talking about running for mayor, don't sound like you're running for council, and vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to talk more about that, too, in the next hour. Oh, man, there goes my head. Oh boy, Matt, I need some decaf, I guess. 1017 FM 710 Keel. Here's Hannity.
Your morning espresso starts right here. It's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
Now, the most amazing part of the development, which dovetails perfectly into what Comey is out there tweeting out, is we have our friend Kerry Pickett over at the Daily Caller pointing out that there are many FBI agents that want congressional subpoenas because FBI rank and file want to testify about the agency's problems and the misdeeds and nefarious actions of people like him and McCabe and others and Strzok and Page. And the sources are claiming there is a demand within the agency to prosecute former Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe because they want justice. This makes them look bad, although they have done nothing but serve this country with honor. And they also say the Bureau has become totally politicized under the leadership of these guys, obviously.
The Sean Hannity Show from coast to coast later today.
Hi, can I help you? Yes, I have a snoring problem. Can you describe it for me, please? Well, it's about 5'11" with curly hair and a mustache. Oh, I see.
Mute is the latest in snoring technology from Australia that may be the solution to your 5'11" snoring problem, letting you finally get a good night's sleep. Snoring is not normal and happens when we breathe through our mouth instead of our nose. Mute is a comfortable nasal dilator that sits inside the nose and supports the airway, allowing snorers to breathe more easily through their nose and keep their mouth closed during sleep. Trials show that 75% of couples are able to enjoy a good night's sleep together when their partner uses Mute. Mute is effective, easy to use, and may just be your answer to a good night's sleep. Mute is available at Walgreens and your local drugstore. Find your nearest store at mutesnoring.com. Mute. Breathe more, snore less, sleep better.
The intersection at Line Avenue and Kings Highway is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive, just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Some sun followed by clouds today. A stray thunderstorm this afternoon and evening. High 92. Partial clearing with a low of 70 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist
Breaking
Heather
news
Dowd.
and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning, Erin McCarty here. Robert is not here today. I've got Dan KEEL in studio.
Do you think anybody noticed?
Probably, yeah.
I could do this a few times.
Be nice.
I'm being nice.
We like our crotchety old guy. Matt Parker. Oh, we don't, Matt? Matt's rolling his eyes. Matt Parker,
it's a face.
He's at the controls. Lots to talk about this morning. We've got Memorial Day weekend upon us. A lot of people taking a long weekend. A lot of people will be traveling. We got some tips for you. Lots of area events are going on, too. We'll have a rundown on that. A new approach to, well, not really new, but trying something new in the Allendale community. That's coming up this morning, too. And in Baton Rouge, they're making a little bit of headway on the state budget. I'm not sure if it's good or not. We'll talk more about that coming up right here, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Lots of folks will be traveling this Memorial Day weekend, and state troopers will be out in force. Dustin Dwight says this will hopefully reduce the number of crashes and help response time.
Crashes, reports of impaired driving, reckless operation, and those types of things. So this initiative is designed to target that.
41 million Americans are expected to travel this weekend, up 5% from a year ago. Shreveport police have a new strategy to fight crime in Allendale: bike patrols. The grassroots bike operation, an effort by SPD to get more officers in the streets in a way they can connect with the community. Sergeant Gregory Washington says the operation is more of a personal way of policing the area. So far in the month of May, 2 people have been shot and killed in the neighborhood. 2 men arrested for hacking email accounts to steal money. Patrick Babila and Thaddeus Pugh arrested for allegedly stealing more than $140,000. According to police, the pair hacked into several email accounts to illegally divert large sums of money from investors into their personal bank accounts. A local fighter wins big with the UFC. Matt Parker with that.
Andrea Lee has been a staple of the local MMA community, but is now starting to hit her stride on an international stage. Last weekend, Lee not only won her UFC debut, but also was awarded Fight of the Night. Lee's big night in Chile put an $80,000 bonus in her bank account and showed why she's one of the top-ranked female fighters in the world. There's no word yet on Lee's next UFC fight, but with a new $1.5 billion TV deal with ESPN, we'll probably be seeing her at least one more time before the end of the year. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A Minden man arrested for multiple sex crimes. Robin Allen arrested for allegedly abusing 2 underage girls 30 years ago. The Bossier Sheriff's Office began investigating Allen after one of the female victims told police she was raped by Allen when she was just 7 years old. House GOP caucus chairman Lance Harris's tax bill passed the House Ways and Means Committee and is headed to the floor. The proposal would retain 1/3 of the expiring penny sales tax, as well as a few other sales tax breaks, and cut spending by $126 million. Harris says this is the compromise legislation that would get the votes needed to go into law.
This is going to be difficult to get 70 votes on the floor for anything. I think y'all realize that. But the alternative is $495 million in cuts.
Harris's legislation would raise $366 million in revenue. Need a flashlight, batteries, or portable generator to get stocked for hurricane season? Well, Louisiana residents will get a partial sales tax break tomorrow and Sunday when you're buying hurricane readiness supplies. The state sales tax will now be just 3% instead of 5%. President Trump wants to build a border wall, but nobody wants to pay for it. Well, Senator Bill Cassidy says he has an idea. He says the U.S. seizes $7 billion from drug cartels every year, and we could use that money to build the wall.
If we could bond this out, as we do in Louisiana, you would have an income stream, and you don't have to take all $7 billion, do $3 billion, but bond it out so that you can begin working on securing our southern border so that we can keep drugs from coming into our country.
Cassidy says Louisiana uses a similar plan to fund roadway projects with unclaimed cash every year. The commander of U.S. Forces Korea says President Trump's cancellation of his planned summit with the North Korean leader does not mean the doors are closed to a future meeting. An Amazon Echo device in Oregon recorded a private family conversation and then sent that recording to an acquaintance. Amazon says it's trying to tweak Alexa's innards so something like that doesn't happen again. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. It's time to check traffic. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Kings Highway near Linwood Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is taking a vacation day off. Long weekend starting early. Got my pal Dan Keel in studio.
Hey, how are you?
Matt Parker at the controls. And a special guest in studio, Mark Crawford, who is Marketing and Public Relations Manager for Shreveport Airport. Thanks for coming in.
Absolutely. Good morning.
You got so many things going on over there. I hope you can hang around for a little while.
Sure.
I want to talk about a couple of things. And one is good news.
Okay.
You're going to love me for this.
Okay. I can't wait.
I've been very, very vocal about I drive to Dallas to fly out for the cheaper rates.
You shouldn't do that.
I know I shouldn't do that. And I hear a lot of people who say they drive to Longview or they drive to Alexandria or I got into this debate and a discussion with a few of my girlfriends the other night, and I said my last 2 trips, I flew out of Shreveport.
Thank you.
And I got to thinking about my time to drive to Dallas, my time to park, my cost to park, my time when I got home that I know I just want to be in my bed.
Right.
Oh, now I got to drive 3 hours. And I thought, my time is worth X amount of dollars.
Absolutely.
Put a price on it.
Yeah.
Let's say my time's worth $50 an hour. Okay?
That's kind of steep, but
hey, I was going to say
every
100.
penny. Worth every
Worth
penny.
every penny. So 3 hours to Dallas plus the 4 hours you got to at least get there, plan in case of a tire break, So that's $200 going over there, $200 coming back.
Right.
We haven't added parking. I thought it's worth it for the extra couple of hundred or $300 or whatever it's going to cost to fly out of Shreveport. So that's what I did.
Well, thank you.
And I think that's what we need to preach.
Absolutely.
What are you worth?
Exactly.
What is your time worth?
so that makes up the difference in how expensive it is to fly from
Yes.
Shreveport to anywhere.
That's how I want people to think about it.
But here's the great thing: great fares happen from Shreveport all the time, so it's
yeah.
it's not always expensive, and that's what we have to. We're attempting to remind people. We're going to launch a new marketing campaign, probably in the next month or so, just to remind people to calculate the total cost from flying from a different airport.
But isn't that rationalization to some extent?
It is, absolutely. So we understand if it's a family of 4 and you're going to save $200 a ticket, that's $800 that you're going to save, or potentially up to $800. So there may be scenarios where it's better to fly from another airport, but we want, a lot of times when I'm talking to people, I'll be like, they'll mention that they flew from Dallas, and I'm like, well, how much was your ticket from Shreveport? And they'll say, well, I didn't even look. So we just want to remind people, always check Shreveport first. Think of the airport as a local business, and that's what it is. We generate all our own funds. We don't get any city tax dollars. Just remember, if you love a local restaurant or a local boutique, it will only do well if people support it. The same thing with the airport as well.
Okay. I love your direct flights to Charlotte.
Yes.
Because
Yeah,
my son is in North Carolina
Yeah.
now, so I'm all about that. And you have some new service starting soon, right?
Well, actually, it started last week. So Allegiant offers low fares to Las Vegas year-round. Usually you can find it for $50 or $60 each way. I went in February and paid $102 round trip to go to Las Vegas. You're there in 2 hours. But they just launched their Orlando service, which is seasonal. So it'll be now through mid-August. The other great news with Allegiant is, like I said, we have Las Vegas year-round. But because of demand and the early bookings, they've added a third weekly flight. So Las Vegas is Mondays and Fridays, and they've added now a Wednesday flight in the middle of the week. So you can go 3 days a week to Las Vegas, 2 days a week to Orlando.
Wow. That really is incredible. What about the Houston flights? Because a lot of folks want to travel to Houston.
Houston is always just, and not just connecting in Houston, but just going, getting on the plane, going to Houston and getting off the plane is always a top 10 destination. We have about 12,000 people a year that fly just to Houston and get off the plane and go visit and work, pleasure, whatever. But United has lowered fares, and so now through the end of the year, and they're available now. So I always encourage people, if you know you're going to go in September, book it now because it's available now. It may not be available later. But $223 round trip to Houston.
Wow, if you're taking a cruise out of Galveston,
yes, perfect.
That's a perfect spot.
$223 round trip, and you're there in 35 minutes. It's a bargain for sure.
I just want you to think about your next trip. If you're planning your summer vacation now, what are you worth? What is your time worth? And I have decided, I know you and I fought about this a long time.
Yes.
I have decided my time is worth
absolutely
flying out of Shreveport. And I can hop in a Lyft or an Uber when I get here. If I don't have a friend that I want to bug to come get me, Uber me home. I'm in my bed.
Absolutely.
15 minutes. And I'm good. Can you hang around? Because we want to talk about what is all the hubbub at downtown airport. Can you help explain that?
I certainly can.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we get back. Right here, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. 1017 FM 710 Keel. It is time to check sports. Here's Maddie.
The LSU Tigers were able to keep their dreams of winning the SEC tournament alive last night, beating South Carolina in extra innings 6-4. And the hero of the game was an unlikely one. In pitcher Todd Peterson's first career at bat, he was able to knock in 2 runs off of a double in the 12th inning. Peterson also picked up the win in the game. LSU will take on the winner of this morning's Arkansas-Florida game later on this afternoon. The Houston Rockets are only 1 win away from the NBA Finals. The Rockets were able to power past the Golden State Warriors last night, 98-94. However, the Rockets may have a tough task in closing out Golden State. James Harden has been struggling to hit three-point shots, and Chris Paul injured his hamstring and may not be available for Game 6. The Texas Rangers continue to struggle as they were blown out last night by the Kansas City Royals 8-2. The Houston Astros were able to pick up a win over the Cleveland Indians by the same score. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
Brooks and Dunn? No? 1017 FM 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert's on vacation. Dan Keel is in studio in the Robert chair. Mark Crawford he's marketing and public relations manager for Shreveport Airports, talking about a lot of good news today. And one more that I really loved here, and I think I heard the mayor announce it, but it's been, the governor's talked about it. Western Global Airlines.
Yes.
Coming to Shreveport Regional in the spot that, who was there first?
ExpressJet was there. So
yes.
Western Global is an all-cargo airline, and they are leasing Hangar 40, which is the big hangar at the airport on the airfield, and they will be doing their maintenance on their aircraft there. So they have 16 planes. They're wide-body planes, so when they had passengers on them, they're all cargo now, of course, but when they had passengers on them, it was 747s and L-1011s, so there was anywhere from 300 to 500 people on the plane. So you can tell it's a very large plane. But they will be doing the maintenance for those aircraft here in Shreveport. So we're very excited that A, the hangar is now leased again when ExpressJet left, and B, that it means jobs for the local economy.
Like 70 plus jobs, did I see that right?
The first year, yeah, it should be about that, up to 170 total for sure.
That
like
really
airframe,
170 direct jobs. Indirect is about 325, I believe.
What kind of jobs?
Most of them are going to be mechanics, airframe and power plant mechanics. And thankfully, a lot of the people that worked at ExpressJet stayed in town. Some left and went, ExpressJet was shutting facilities down across the country. So some people moved to Knoxville, which is with ExpressJet. But a lot of people stayed here and have done other things. So a lot of them were already here.
Some of the Southern University Aviation Program people were tied in with the ExpressJet. Is that going to happen for Western Global?
It probably should, or probably could, I should say. So that's the A&P Airframe and Power Plant school that Southern has at the downtown airport. Once they graduate from that program, they would be trained to do the kind of things that Western Global or ExpressJet did.
And while we're downtown, I want to ask you about something.
Okay.
There's a federal study.
Yes.
That there was a few problems.
Correct.
At the airport. I call them issues.
Right.
People living in hangars, people not following the rules at the airport.
So this actually came out yesterday. We had our board meeting yesterday. The FAA did an audit of the downtown airport and found that there were, and I have not read the report because we just got it yesterday at the board meeting. So we just got it in our hands right before the board meeting started. But there were some things where the airport was out of compliance with FAA regulations, and so when that happens, we get money from the FAA for improvements to the airport. And so when you're not in compliance, you are at risk of not getting that money.
Now, in all fairness, not in compliance really was tenants not in compliance.
Correct.
Because they weren't having their feet held to the fire.
Correct. Exactly.
They're using them for storage buildings,
right?
Dog runs.
Right. So there were some tenants that were not following the minimum standards at the downtown airport. We updated those yesterday, I shouldn't say that. The board voted to update. There's about 7 updates, I guess, to the minimum standards, and now the process of making sure that we are in compliance it's already begun, but now we can move forward full steam ahead in attempts to make sure that we are in compliance with FAA regulations, so we're not at risk for losing federal funding.
I keep hearing people talk about the restaurant downtown. It closed again.
It closed. Yeah, Tina had been there, or the Cloud9, I should say, had been there about a year and a half. She closed Monday. We are already working on finding a new tenant for that. That's such a great airport, a great location. There are people that fly to Shreveport that don't live here, that fly to Shreveport just to eat at the restaurant, and that's kind of standard at the small airports like that across the country. They'll call it the $100 hamburger because they flew from wherever to go eat the burger. So we're working now to find a new tenant for that space, and hopefully something will be there soon.
Mark, let me ask you this. I'm hearing some of the bubbling, and I'm not in the loop, the unrest among some of the tenants about the lease arrangement with the downtown airport with regard to their hangars and what's going on there. I mean, there's a bunch of it out on social media. I don't know what to believe. What's going on with regard to that?
So there were some rules or guidelines in the leases that were not being enforced by the airport. And again, in an attempt to remain in compliance with the FAA regulations, we are enforcing those now.
Are you evicting people from their hangars?
Absolutely not. No.
Are you taking hangars away from people?
We are not at this point. No. So in all the leases, there is what is called a revision clause. And after a period of time, and this is standard at for most airports across the country, the FAA is aware of this. All of our leases, everything we do is approved by the FAA, or we couldn't do it. So we're not just randomly making up rules and trying to stick to them. But there's a reversion clause that after a period of time, the term of the lease, that property, or that improvement, I should say.
Because you own the property.
We own the land. We own the land under the hangar, or under the improvement, I should say.
Right.
Whether it's a hangar, or a restaurant, or whatever, we own the land under that. After the time that is in the contract or in the lease, that reverts back to the airport. And that's, again, standard at airports all across the country. The FAA knows about it. And so that has not been enforced for a number of years, decades even. And so we are attempting to do that now, to help make the downtown airport financially self-sufficient, and B, to stay in compliance with the FAA regulations.
And that's what's ruffling all the feathers, is that it hasn't been enforced for a while.
Correct.
Now
for decades. For decades.
Ah, okay. So that's what people are all upset about.
It seems to be, yes.
So it would seem like following the rules would actually tend to make more economic stability, because you'd understand what you're going to play by.
Absolutely, yes.
But the complaint has been just the opposite of that.
Right. So we again always want to stay in compliance with what the FAA tells us to do, or suggests that we do, because we do get funding from them. And if you don't follow their rules, you don't get funding.
Are we in jeopardy now?
If we are in, they know that we're trying to fix the problem, so it's not like funding is going to end tomorrow necessarily.
Like double secret probation,
right? So they know that we're trying to fix the problem, or fix the issues, I should say, and so they're working with us to go with that, which is great. So I wouldn't say we're in any immediate future or an immediate case of losing that funding.
Let me ask you another subject, and this is, what can I do, Mark? Just me, general. What can I do to bring more airlines to town so that I have Southwest, or I have others?
We get that question all the time. So if you look at the list of airlines that was around in 2000 versus now, we have the 3 of the 4 major airlines. Northwest isn't around anymore. Continental's not around anymore. TWA. U.S. Airways, all those have merged with the 3 airlines that we have now. So we don't have Southwest. We would love to have Southwest. But what every airline looks at every airport is demand. So if there's enough demand from Shreveport, we could have Southwest. We could have JetBlue. Spirit. We could, if there's enough demand, we could have that. So when people choose to not support the local airport and drive to a different airport, that shows the airlines we don't need to have more seats in Shreveport. They're willing to drive to Dallas for that. So that's what we always encourage people to look at flying from Shreveport first. And again, there are scenarios where it makes better sense, financial sense, to fly from a different airport. But we encourage everyone to support your local airport, support the local business, and fly from Shreveport if possible.
Could an email campaign or an online social media to the head of Spirit or Southwest, could that spur a little interest?
It certainly wouldn't hurt, for sure.
They'd like you to buy tickets, though.
Right.
Yeah.
So we meet with Southwest at least once a year. We have a meeting with them at a conference we go to in June, and so we always meet with them. And it's kind of like a speed dating conference for airports and airlines. So we request meetings with airlines.
Wear a nice tie.
Exactly, for sure. I always dress the part. No, so we request meetings with a number of airlines, and they have to accept our request. And of course, Southwest accepted our request. And typically, airlines won't meet with airports if there's not a potential for something to happen there. So I'm not saying Southwest will be here tomorrow. I'd love for it to be here tomorrow.
Right.
But if they didn't think that maybe somewhere down the road that there could be a future here, then they likely wouldn't be meeting with us in the first place.
So we could start a social media online campaign to get Southwest ahead of your June meeting, and maybe
the more people that let Southwest know that they would fly them if they were here, the better.
Okay, I'm going to work on that for you.
I'm
going to work on that.
Okay.
Mark Crawford, Shreveport Regional Airport. Shreveport Airports, absolutely. Thank you for coming in.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Lots of topics to talk about, and please do come back.
I will.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Right now, time to check traffic. Here's Ruben.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Weather.com forecast. We'll see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today. High 92. Partial clearing tonight. Low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
House GOP leader Lance Harris's tax bill has passed the Ways and Means Committee and is on its way to the floor. The legislation would raise $366 million in revenue. Harris says the proposal does not fill the $648 million budget gap that's brought lawmakers into the second special session of the year. The Republican says it's time to start cutting government spending.
I want to reduce the size of government because of the fact that our economy has retracted 2 years in a row.
The proposal would retain 1/3 of the expiring penny sales tax, as well as a few other tax breaks. 2 men arrested for hacking email accounts to steal money. We get details from that from Matt Parker.
Patrick Babila and Thaddeus Pugh have been arrested for allegedly stealing over $140,000. According to police, the pair hacked into several email accounts to illegally divert large sums of money from investors into their personal bank accounts. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
A Minden man arrested for multiple sex crimes. Robin Allen arrested for allegedly abusing 2 underage girls 30 years ago. The Bossier Sheriff's Office began investigating Allen after one of the female victims told police she was raped by Allen when she was just 7 years old. A new strategy to fight crime in Allendale: bicycle patrols. The grassroots bike operation is an effort by SPD to get more officers in the streets in a way that they can connect with the community. Every year, the U.S. seizes about $7 billion from Mexican drug cartels. Senator Bill Cassidy says he has a plan for that money.
Secure the border. Why not? If that's where the drugs are coming across, make it harder for the drugs to come across.
Cassidy telling KEEL News we could bond out a portion of that money to help fund construction of the president's border wall. Harvey Weinstein expected to turn himself in to police in New York early today following a 7-month investigation into sexual assault allegations. What a prank! An 18-year-old who put his suburban Kansas City high school for sale on Craigslist has been banned from graduation after the senior prank went awry. The Kansas City Star reports Kylan Scheel listed Truman High School in Independence for the bargain price of $12,275. Problems arose when someone reported the posting as a possible threat because of Scheel's choice of wording. He wrote that the reason for the sale was, quote, the loss of students coming up. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
You can pretty well count on that.
Yeah. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is off today. Dan KEEL is here. Matt Parker, your faces have been just primo today.
Well, you're killing me with nonsense.
Am I?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you know, I always do such great planning. Who can I call at 6:45 in the morning and wake them up to get a...
Oh, she has us do that.
Yeah, y'all are good at that. With the Jack Spring electric shockbuster button, though, you got your finger on it. Because I think when Robert's not here, sometimes I get a little crazy.
Not to use a improper analogy here, but Robert rides you like a horse, and when your rider's not here, you kind of get wild.
He spanks her like a bad donkey, okay?
Oh, God. He tries to keep me in line occasionally. Any big plans for the Memorial Day weekend? I mean, hopefully you're going to go down to Keithville to the cemetery, correct?
I'd like to do that, yeah.
There are a lot of things like that going on.
I've got a honey-do list I'm working on, too.
Do you? I have a few of those
But I
finished.
don't want to tell her because she's probably listening.
My honey-do list is for me, so I have my own honey-do list to do my own stuff.
So
I may need to borrow your drill again.
Yeah, okay.
I might need to borrow that
I can do
again. I am going to, which I've never been to see this, and I don't know how often they've had it, but I'm going to the pig races on Monday at Louisiana
These are like
Downs.
wiener dogs with real short hair.
Yeah. And I'm told at the end of the race you get to keep the one who wins and barbecue him or something. No, I'm just joking. That's not true.
So no bacon on Monday.
No bacon on Monday.
These are piglets, though, aren't they?
Yeah, these are the little pigs. Do you get to bet on them like you would the horses?
At Louisiana Downs?
I don't know if you bet on the pig. I know you don't bet on the wiener dogs.
Win, place, or show?
Yeah.
I'm sure at the very least, any legal authorities, please cover your ears. But I'm sure there's a bookie somewhere that will take your bet on the pigs.
Yeah.
But these pigs, I mean, pigs do come in different shapes, sizes, and colors.
Of course, yeah.
But I'm imagining a bunch of little pink ones.
Are you?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not saying you're going to get like.
Are you saying they're all going to look like Babe? Is that what you're trying to get at?
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, cute little pig. See, that's what I want. I want cute little pigs.
And what if they lose their numbers?
I don't want these Ellerby Road feral hogs out there racing.
No.
That's not what I'm going to get,
that
is
wouldn't
it?
Be fair.
I hope not. And do they use, like for the greyhound races, do they use the rabbit, like to make the pigs run faster? You know, are they chasing something?
I
Truffles.
don't know.
What?
I don't know.
Those are a different kind of pig.
Okay.
I just don't want big, ugly pigs. I want cute little pigs.
You want them with cute little henna tattoos of their numbers on.
Yeah, nice little pigs. I'm not sure what I'm going to get, but I do, I would like to place a wager or two on a pig. Like, oh, I like pig number 4. I want to bet on pig number 4.
So
but
are they going to have cute names that you can, because that's how you usually bet, isn't it?
They probably will have some cute
horse?
names. I just, I don't want, I'm hoping this is not like the Kentucky Derby where I got to wear this big hat and all that stuff. No, I can just go there.
This is a more redneck operation.
Okay, this is a redneck operation.
But you're going to hear a lot of...
Wear a trucker hat.
Oh, my goodness. Coming back, I know you love to talk about it. I know you're excited to talk about it. Let's do the state budget. They're trying to get something done. I'm not holding my breath. Right now, 101.7 FM 710 Keel. Here's Ruben.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zaire.
Matt Parker is a body language specialist.
He really is.
Yeah.
He really is. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is on vacation today. He'll be back on Tuesday. Having a little long weekend. You can text us on the Shreveport Security Systems text line.
318-392-1884.
Oh, wow.
That's my Johnny. That's my Johnny announcer voice.
I know, it's like, oh, we're getting beat over the head with this state budget thing and et cetera. But we gotta bring it up today because there's some movement. And I don't know if it'll end up passing in the House. That's the big, hurdling, stumbling block. But Lance Harris, head of the GOP caucus, he got his bill passed in the Ways and Means Committee.
To do what?
It would keep a third of the expiring penny on the books, the penny sales tax. It would keep a third of it on the books. It would cut government spending by $126 million. Now, his plan would bring in $366 million in revenue. So it would raise an additional $366 million in revenue, cut government spending by more than $120 million, and hopefully level out the budget. Because you hear the governor say it's 648, others have said it's 400 something. My concern is you still have the Legislative Black Caucus who's been adamantly against sales taxes.
They don't want aggressive taxes.
Yes. Because they say sales taxes impact everybody, even the poor.
Right.
And those folks can't afford it. Our sales tax, I mean, if you don't know this, our state sales tax is the highest in the country.
It's like 10%?
Yeah, I think in Bossier they're paying 11 now. I may be wrong. Matt, you live over there. Isn't it 11 in Bossier?
I try not to pay attention to it.
Darn close. And that's just too much.
But some people say that the sales tax actually collects money from people who are either dealing drugs or doing cash jobs or whatever, that if you're a consumer, then you're fairly paying a tax.
Yes.
That's the argument against property taxes.
Right, because when drug dealers go buy stuff, they got to pay the taxes too. And do drug dealers own property? I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't live in that world, obviously, but they would have to pay property taxes as well if they owned any property. But they're paying the same sales tax I pay, but it does impact poor people, and they have very limited discretionary money.
Didn't they do away with all kinds of exemptions for things a session or two ago?
Yes, they did. My whole issue with this, and I know we're going to run out of time, my whole issue, and I'm kind of upset with both the governor and lawmakers, because 2 years ago I was told and I was sold this bill of goods that we're going to put this $1.4 billion temporary taxes on the books, and they'll expire July 1st, 2018. But in those 2 years, we'll work to change our tax code and fix the problem. Well, that hasn't happened.
They play kick the can.
They do. And now they're playing threaten the baby
or
threaten the elderly.
And LSU sports.
Yes. I'm almost to the point, if I were, and I say this having I'm not there.
You've
and
never
I'm
run
not,
for office.
I'm not a politician, don't have any desire to be, but I would take the budget I sent to the governor a week or so ago. I'd send it right back to him.
With a note on the top. Here you are, bucko.
Yeah, here you go. You said this budget was going to make you put old people on the curb. Put them on the curb. Knock yourself out. If that's where you think you have to cut this budget, put old people on the curb. Let's call your bluff. Let's see if you really would do that.
I think they might actually do that if they thought he wasn't going to be a one-term governor anyway.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. And I asked him straight up the other day when we had him on. I said, "Governor, you running for re-election?" "Absolutely." He's doomed. I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I think if the Republicans put up anybody but a jailbreaker.
Yeah.
I think he's doomed.
Or as long as someone doesn't wear a diaper on their head, they probably have a pretty good chance of winning
Oh,
against him.
Dan, you went there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
If that hadn't happened, if they hadn't had the Vitter issue,
he would have trounced him.
And the people attacking him and his own party, he would have got his butt kicked.
Or if he'd have had another Democrat that might have split the vote.
You know what would be fun? Alan Seabaugh, with all his vocalisms about fiscal accountability, let him have that job and see what he actually does.
Ooh-wee. Well, it's sounding more like Senator Kennedy's going to jump in.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big name race.
And Senator Kennedy will crush him, don't y'all think?
Oh yeah, and if there's a guy that I would vote for no matter what position he ran for, it'd probably be John Kennedy, because he seems pretty level-headed.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to communicate with people. If there's a political checkbox, he pretty much hits all of them.
But he's probably doing the best for his folksy appeal is giving us national press.
Oh,
so I hate to see him leave Congress.
He's all over. Yeah, he's getting all kind of national media. That is for sure. We're just about to put a wrap on this weekend and get our long weekend started. We'll check traffic coming up next right here on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Your home for the newsmakers and all the big stories.
I'm Stephen Jackson, Cattle Parish Commissioner, District 3. I love waking up to Robert and Erin on KEEL in the morning.
We are KEEL. 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. 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 KEEL.
Starting to see some slow-moving traffic on Texas Street in downtown Shreveport, and we have some traffic delays on McDade Street near Barksdale Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have any accidents, hazards, or closures to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast will see some sun giving way to clouds and a stray afternoon or evening thunderstorm today, high 92. Partial clearing tonight, low 70. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The KEEL app is brought to you by Office Furniture Source. Download the app today. KEEL.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
Netflix has announced that they have offered a series to former President Barack Obama and his wife, Michelle Obama. The Obamas say they want to create a series that teaches the next generation of leadership and heals our nation's divides.
This is really rich coming from Barack Obama, who never lost an opportunity to divide our nation among color. Many had hoped, though, that the 2008 election of the nation's first black president would improve race relations, especially among black voters, but it didn't. And today, 3 out of 4 Americans say race relations in this country are worse than it was in 2008.
Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts once said the only way to stop discriminating based upon race is to stop discriminating based upon race.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 1017 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert and Erin in the morning. Robert is out today. He'll be back on Tuesday, taking a long weekend.
Thanks for having me in. I always have fun when I come here.
It was good hearing your opinion on a lot of different things. It's nice to have a fresh opinion on things.
I am not going to get a website and start making it Dan Talk or.
Oh, you're not? Okay,
not gonna do all that.
You just fill in when Robert's gone.
Exactly.
I'll drag you in here kicking and screaming, and I do appreciate your time. And you did a lot of work for me today with regard to Memorial Day, because we need to remember. Yes, this is a great beginning of summer and swimming and going out on the lake in the boat and barbecuing and families and all that. But
it's not just a day off.
No, we really, and teach your children what Memorial Day is all about. And there are several local events. All you need to do really is take an hour or 2 hours out of your day and take your children or your grandchildren to one of these events and talk to them and teach them about what this day is about, Dan. And there's several spots you can stop at, correct?
That's correct. There's a Keithville Veterans Cemetery. That's, 11 o'clock? 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the American Legion Post on Lakeshore.
That's a wonderful event.
That's a wonderful event. Hillcrest Memorial Observance. You can't miss it. They got a flag up there. They fly all year long.
Yeah, that's Monday morning at 9.
That's Monday morning at 9.
Okay.
And then if you miss all that, on the 30th, there's something at 10 a.m. at Greenwood Cemetery.
Right there in the heart of the city, yeah. Absolutely. And that's all happening. The vast majority of that is happening on Monday. We'll hopefully get all that online for you so you can go check it out and see if there's something particularly you want to get to on Monday. But I just want us to take a minute and remember those who. Memorial Day is for those who've died. Let's not. These folks died for our freedoms, for our safety and our security. And a lot of them in the last 10 years have been young people in Iraq and Afghanistan, young men and women, in their teens or early 20s that have given up their life. And I just want to remember them, because we wouldn't have some of the freedoms we have without the folks who are willing to risk it all. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. We'll have Best of Robin and Erin on Monday, and we'll be back live and in the flesh on Tuesday. 1017 FM and 710 Keel.
What I'm about to tell you is hard to believe. If you have kids who play video games, or even if you don't, listen carefully. Kim Commander with your Thursday Consumer Tech Update. There's a popular American video game creator by the name of Valve Corporation. It was created by a group of former Microsoft employees. All the kids know about Valve and its website Steam that sells and distributes games. Unless things change on June the 6th, Steam and Valve will begin selling what it calls a school shooting simulator video game. You heard me right. The game's creator says that the object of the game is to, and I'm quoting them now, slaughter as many civilians as possible in a school environment. They say it includes 3D models of children to shoot at, and that the game is realistic, impressive. To somehow justify all of this, there is a disclaimer. This game is only meant to be a simulation, so don't take it seriously. Don't take it seriously? Remember Valve and Steam the next time you hear about the next mass shooting. I'm Kim Commando. It's vital to protect your home and family with a home security system without sacrificing your privacy. That's what I love about SimpliSafe. You'll get an HD camera that you control from your phone. You'll see what's going on when you're away, which is great. But what about your camera and your privacy when you're at home? SimpliSafe has a solution. When the camera's on, you'll see a small indicator light. When it's off, so is the light. SimpliSafe designed this camera with a privacy shutter. When you hear it click, you know the shutter's closed. Even the world's best hacker can't see through SimpliSafe's thin, lightweight aluminum privacy camera shutter. It works every time. It's details like these that set SimpliSafe apart as the best security system for your home, your family, your peace of mind, and your personal privacy. SimpliSafe isn't just home security, it's home security done right. So check out SimpliSafe for yourself today at simplysafekim.com. That's simplysafekim.com, simplysafekim.com.
The KEEL app is brought to you by Office Furniture Source. Download the app today. KEEL.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Some sun followed by clouds today. A stray thunderstorm this afternoon and evening. High 92. Partial clearing with a low of 70 tonight. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.